If everyone would rise and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving into item IC, roll call. Let the record show that 4 board members are present. Item D, approval of the agenda.
I'll make it.
Motion by Heather. Any discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 2, informational items. 2A, construction report. Any questions? Item 2B, superintendent non-work days. Did everyone have a chance to look at that? Item 2C, personnel. A little bit of a list this month.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with everybody.
It was a good reminder.
Yeah, the thing you sent out is always helpful too, that's very helpful.
Right. Check marks. It's good. Item 2D, discussion of WVIS certified evaluation plan.
Board members, because tonight's a special meeting, we had several directors that had made plans for this week, so that's why our audience is very light. But I will just review briefly the certified evaluation plan. The substance of this plan has not changed since last year. The board is required to review it, but not approve it. This lays out the schedule by which and the manner in which all certified employees are evaluated in our district. Non-tenured employees, teachers, receive 2 formative evaluations where the principal or assistant principal go physically supervise them teaching the class, provide them with some preliminary feedback, and then a summative evaluation is performed at the end of the year before May 15th. Same happens for administrators in the district, as well as media specialists, speech language pathologists, again, anybody with a teaching certificate in the district. This plan outlines the process and methodology for their evaluations. Rob forms a committee every year. You see the members of the committee there on the front. There's Adam Nash, Jenny Goodnow, Eric Morris, Tara Rokamp, Luke Patterson, and Emily Borkowski. So we have administrators and teachers represented on that committee. It's typically referred to as a 50-50 committee because it's comprised of 50% teachers, 50% administrators. So that group, much like our code of conduct, you have that preliminary group that reviews the plan in detail and makes recommendations. But again, there were no substantive changes to the plan for this year.
Questions? The discussion? Thank you. Item 2E, other.
I'd like to start out by just thanking the board for rescheduling this meeting. I realize that's no small undertaking. That allowed me and Nate was actually there also, who put a lot of miles on the vehicle last week between Bowling Green and Northern Kentucky. But it was a good event to kick off Protect Our Schools movement here in Northern Kentucky. Those are regional events that are occurring all across the state. We were treated to listening to Jack Morehouse. Mr. Morehouse was superintendent of Dayton Independent and Covington Independent many years ago when CARA was first passed. It was a result of a lawsuit the CBE filed against our legislature. And his comments were very interesting, enlightening, and humorous, I'll just say. But I appreciate the board's effort to reschedule that meeting so that I could attend that event. And again, just because of the rescheduling, we have a very light crowd tonight. If anybody has any questions about anything on the agenda, if I can't answer it, if Kevin can't answer it, I will give you an answer in writing by the end of the week.
I would just echo what Dr. Baker said. And folks have a chance to check out the Protect Our Schools Facebook page. It's got a lot of really good information on there. There's a lot of solid talking points that are completely nonpartisan. They're just about the issues of really what this boils
thought it was a great event. They had to move, they had to change a venue kind of at the last minute as well because there was so much interest in the event, they had to move it, so that was good as well. Anything else for other? Moving to item 3, recommended board motions. 3A, approval of minutes, May 30th, 2024.
I'll make it.
We have a first. Any questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3B, approval of superintendent's expense report.
I'll make it.
First by Jamie. Questions or discussion?
Just wanted to notate, I think there's a date that,
Did I miss a date?
well, I think he corrected it, but to the 25th, but it really should be the 24th.
Okay.
I don't really know.
Oh, yeah, it was the same day.
It was the same day, yeah.
No, you're right.
In case anyone looks at it and goes, oh, you had graduation on Saturday.
Right, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? We have a second.
I'll make it.
Second by Heather. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3C, approval of pay application 17 for Morel Construction, Walton Road Intermediate School.
I'll make it.
First by Aubrey. Any questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Heather. All in favor? Motion
I
passes 4-0.
really want to pay these people.
Yeah. Love the enthusiasm. Item 3D, approval of design development drawings for Walton Road and District Office renovation.
I'll make it.
First by Jamie. Questions or discussion?
Everything was the same.
Yeah, was it exactly the same?
Oh, we talked.
Basically, they add a little bit of detail
Yes.
between one version and the next, but it's 95% the same.
Things like a door schedule that says like this door has a light in it, that door doesn't.
Yeah.
That kind of
Like
stuff.
elevation stuff.
And we'll have more opportunities, the further we get closer to bidding, to kind of look at specifics on what things are going to be.
Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3E, approval of treasurer's report.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3F, approval of the orders of the treasurer.
I'll make it.
First by Aubrey. Questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
Make it.
Second by Heather. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3G, approval of insurance carriers for fleet, property, general liability, umbrella, workers' compensation, and cyber insurance coverages for 2024-2025.
I'll make it.
Questions or discussion? I was just going to add, and Dr. Baker asked me about this today. The two documents are almost identical. One of them just replaces, the second one had Liberty Mutual, that we were still there, and the dollar amount associated with them was higher. The Bluegrass Risk Management one, the only difference is the line that says we're changing to them and the different dollar amount. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear if it wasn't from my email.
So, can you, my take is basically like everyone's going in like a pool and sharing costs?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's, years ago, you were probably on the board when this happened. The kids that Kentucky School, through the Kentucky School Board Association ran an insurance trust that essentially did the same thing. It was kind of statewide, and it was, we'll just say mismanaged, and it ended up kind of, just dissolving. With some districts that had varying levels of contributions they had to make to that. This one is being run by an outside firm, And currently, it's only Northern Kentucky districts, so we're only paying for our kind of loss experience that we've had here, so we're not gonna get penalized by the inclusion of like the school districts in western and southeastern Kentucky with the floods and the tornadoes that is causing the rates in the state like to raise for everyone. So that's why you see, I think what they said, it took 15 years of lost runs just from the group of, I'll say like 30-ish districts in Northern Kentucky that our insurance broker deals with and kind of setting them up. And then they'll add some kind of as they go, as long as they have like good loss experience and stuff and have the data to dump that in, but they're not just taking anybody and everybody. And so I like it from an option that we haven't had an option for Liberty Mutual in a while, and it just goes up every year and the coverage gets worse every year. So it at least provides some competition to them, and we can always go back, like, you know, next year, if somebody has a bad loss in the pool, I mean, there's potential, like, it could be more expensive next year. But we have the option to go kind of back and forth as long as Liberty Mutual is still riding. And that's part of the problem with rates also, is that nobody, you know, there's a large amount of exposure, so not a lot of companies write it. I think they said Northern Kentucky Liberty was the only one writing, and one of the other, I think there were 3 total companies that wrote business in the state, and neither one of them were looking to add new schools this year. Some of them were actually dumping districts that had poor history. So I like it as an option, and I don't think that they'll have the issues that kids would have, but again, you can get out of it kind of at any time. You know, we redo this every year, so we'll have a chance to look at that and see how it's going. But I don't know when the district started using Crawford Insurance, who's Assured Partners now, but it was before I started, like 18 years ago. And they, I'll put it this way, he wouldn't have recommended it if it wasn't a good option for us and felt like we were going to have adequate coverage. And the thing, and the group, I believe he said the group that runs this one also runs the one for League of Cities. Is that correct? Am I saying that right? And the League of Cities operation is a lot better than the one that was run by KSDA 15, 20 years ago, to the point that they're actually the ones that cleaned up the issues that happened with kids, but like when they kind of dissolved, they kind of took it over, provided assessments, and then we got refunds back on what we paid as claims that were kind of lingering were paid out. So I feel as confident as good with that, and I think we'll have good coverage. The workers' comp and cyber insurance were the same. They're not, they're separate options, but the same as we had this year. And workers' comp went up just a little bit, but we're adding a lot of salary. And of course, if you have a couple of injuries, they go up anyway. So that total of like $2,000, $5,000 there. So we put, we put both of them on just because we need to approve at tonight, so that on July 1st we have coverage without having to have a separate board meeting.
Yeah, makes sense. Any other questions? Do we have a second?
You be the first. I will make the second.
Second made by Aubrey. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3H, approval of insurance carriers for fleet, property, general liability, umbrella, workers' compensation, and cyber insurance coverages for 2024-2025, Liberty Mutual option. Do we have the first? First by Jamie. Questions or discussion? Motion fails for lack of a second. Item 3I, approval of emergency certification for 2 full-time high school foreign language teachers for the 2024-2025 school year.
I'll make it.
First by Heather.
And
Question?
then what is the?
This is 1 year, well, before, this has to go before the Education Professional Standards Board. Before that can happen, we have to officially offer them a position, and the board has to approve the request for emergency certification for both teachers. They've been on emergency certifications for multiple years.
Right. I didn't know there was a cap on there.
There used to be, but
Okay.
since COVID,
Oh.
EPSB has been more lenient on these emergency certificates, especially for foreign language teachers, because
Okay.
they just, I find this is very frustrating.
Mhm.
They just don't exist. I mean, we had the jobs posted since mid-May, we had 2 applicants. So this is just kind of where we are. There were no foreign language certificates issued last year other than Spanish by EPSB. They issued 10 altogether Spanish. So we have 2 young ladies who are continuing to work. They each started a new tutoring program this summer to try to pass the speaking portion of the praxis.
So there's just been lack of interest, just
Well, if you can speak 2 languages, there's 1,000 things
you
you
can
can do.
do other things, yeah.
In particular, I find it very frustrating that universities are granting degrees. And then individuals who have been granted a degree can't pass the praxis. But again, I think it's unreasonable to expect someone, for example, who's from southeastern Kentucky and has a very serious, thick accent, and they're asked to go in and pass a speaking language test for a foreign language. That's going to be a big ask.
That's right. That's
Um,
true.
so,
Any other questions? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Albert. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3J, second reading and approval of KSBA 2024 policy update.
We good?
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Have a second?
Oh, man.
By Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3K, approval of MOU between Thomas More University and Walton Verona Independent Schools.
I mean,
Sorry, I really was thinking long about that one.
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I will make it.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3L, approval of the 2024-2025 payroll dates.
Oh, man.
First by Jamie, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Item 3M, adjournment.
I'll make it.
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'm sorry.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. We are adjourned.